one more time, and a very plain CBZ series bid.
Absolutely, and nothing less than we would expect. GG.
We see the stim coming forward. Beautiful play on the tanks. And this means these Marines do not have the backup fire.
Lockdown, a beautiful move from Ryung. But look at all the SCVs dying to these Marines so tasteless.
Oh,
that's a ton of damage from Ryung.
That's it, GG.
Wow.
Ryung takes game number 2.
This has been a masterclass of
yeah.
Zerg vs. Zerg. There you go, GG. True.
Hello and welcome everybody to day 2 of the open bracket here at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. On day 1 we saw some amazing players advance, notably in Serral and Solar, and now in day 2 we'll find out which players will go on to join them.
Specialist has to tap out. GG.
Wow, what a good read by Zest.
Okay, we see the big attack coming in here now, and Special engulfing the army of Bunny. So much damage from every angle.
Finally, after weathering the storm, hanging on for so long, he blasts those cyclones down.
GG, fantastic showing there by Special.
These disruptors are dropped hard to block all of his stalkers, and that's going to be it. A full surround of Zealous on the disruptors of Harstem, and Trap is going to be your Protoss.
Whoa!
Not go down.
Shieldbearing's out of energy here. The Void Ray does get taken out.
Second
Nave gets the second Void Ray.
This fight would go disastrous for one of the two players. Deep's army was a lot stronger. Patience's engagement was better, but I don't think it matters. In the end, Deep has too much.
We just wrapped up day 2 of the open bracket, and now we have 24 players total that will be competing at the group stage here at the Intel Extreme Masters.
The Intel Extreme Masters World Championship carries something special. And while it's always a progressive look forwards to the future of StarCraft 2, this tournament truly honors the legacy of StarCraft, the stories, the hardships, and the journeys all of these phenomenal players have to make. In the upcoming 4 days, we'll have 24 players competing for their share of $400,000 and learn about their trials along the way. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to begin day number 3 of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship.
Welcome to the Hacks Pre-Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the analysis desk for day number 3. Indeed, we did start with 76 players, now we're down to 24, and we have the very best of those 24 going to be competing in group stages throughout the next 2 days. Welcome everybody to the analysis desk. My name's Kyle Laris, I'll be your host throughout all of this, and we do have joining us to start things off Rotterdam and Artosis. Gentlemen, day number 1 and 2 with our open brackets were phenomenal, but now we get to witness 24 electrifying players make their way to the stage here.
Yeah, you thought the games were good in the first 2 days of Katowice. This is where it really heats up. The amount of good matches that we have is like overwhelming. Like going through and trying to pick what's going to be on the main stage is the most painful but most awesome experience you can have.
A lot of the matchups I think we have today in the group stage already could very well be our finals. I mean, could be the finals of any tournament. Innovation versus Dark. That is one of those matches where I think everyone just gets so freaking excited about. Even if you play Protoss games, those are the matches that you really live for as a StarCraft fan. I love the first 2 days though. The open bracket was lots of fun, and the level of play, and you know, we don't always say this, it was really good for the beginning of the tournament. Normally there's like 1 or 2 games that stood out. I think there are 5, 6, 7, 8 games that you would really tell every StarCraft fan you should have been watching.
Yeah, definitely, and we're going to have a lot more of that to come. And we can start talking about how the groups are going to be shaping up, of course, as we have 24 players. And an important thing to note is that 19 of these 24 players are Premier Tournament champions. It's a ridiculous lineup. Let's take a look at Group A to get things going as we continue things here. So, gentlemen, looking at Group A, what a lineup of players to start off the day.
Dude, it's out of control, actually. Like, Group A for me is one of the 2 groups that's really just... look at it. Look at it. Maru and TY right now. TY, the defending champion of Katowice. Maru, maybe the best Terran player in the world right now. He's in top 8 over in GSL. And I mean, you guys saw his games to make it to this group stage. It was madness.
Yeah, of course, Special playing incredibly well lately, just making non-stop top 4 runs at some of those OCS events. But even at the Intel Extreme Masters, Pyeongchang also making it to the top 4. Then you've got Showtime, who tweeted out right before the drawing happened, please give me an easy group. Afterwards, he just wrote, lol. You know, that didn't really work out. It's pretty much the stuff it's going to be. Not a single Zerg in this group, and that obviously makes things interesting. Because just by being very good in TVT, something that I think Gumio has absolutely been in the past, you can actually make your way out of this group, but it's going to be tough for everybody.
I mean, looking at someone like TY, our current Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, surely he was the most successful player of 2017. He backed the most money during that year. He got himself that first place. He was able to take first place WESG. I think he also took second place at GSL versus the World. So he was the most successful player, surely.
I think in a lot of ways you can measure it that way. And in fact, like, he almost had the best year we've ever seen. He made a bunch of top 8s in like GSL, went up 2-0 and then got swept. So TY is kind of a funny player in that regard. Like, when he's on, he looks like the best player in the world. And is he on right now for this tournament? I think he takes it seriously. He wants to defend his title.
That's right.
And it's very realistic. Like, in my opinion, best TVT player in the world. And in a group like this, well, I mean, everyone in this group is good TVT though, Rob, right? Like,
no, obviously. I mean, it's fun to see our defending champion in action, because last year, Katowice, I mean, we talked a lot about how this year is incredibly stacked. Last year was also very stacked, especially when we entered this phase in the tournament. I think the open bracket was even harder this year than it was last year, but when it came to the top 24, last year was just as tough. So the fact that he won back then, I mean, there's obviously a good chance that he goes very far again, but going back to back, I don't know, James. Let's take it one group at a time.
Ambitious. Let's see if he can defend his title. Let's go on to Group B, of course, as we have plenty more players to run down. So, Thermal, Dark, Innovation, Hurricane, Solar, and True. Yet another stacked group. But Thermal, when he goes up against the Koreans, he's got his work cut out for him.
he does. This is an uphill journey for you, Thermal. I mean, I'd be interested to see what you think, Roddy, being a fellow Dutch guy. And
you know what I think, Tulsas. You know what I think.
Dude, Dark and Innovation are in this group. These are generally the players we call the best Terran and the best Zerg in the world.
I'm not looking too much at Dark and Innovation. You know, if I want to really let my Dutch players shine over here, then I'm not really counting on the fact that Utermo can beat either Dark or Innovation. Is it possible? I mean, in a best of 3, maybe you can squeeze out something very weird in TVT. I mean, at the end of the day, Dark and Inno are humans too as well, even though we sometimes doubt it with Inno. But let's just say that they too can have an off day. They too not necessarily always have to play their best StarCraft. But if I look at the other 3 names, I look at Hurricane, a very scary Protoss, of course. I mean, he's stopped Neep in multiple tournaments, but that's a different matchup. Solar is very strong, and True is obviously True in his weird, unique way. But I think those are 3 beatable opponents for Utermo, but he has to play his A++ game. Like, he cannot show up being average, because that's not going to be good enough.
And of course, Thermal came here via defeating Serral in the final match of the European qualifier, 3-2. Admittedly, some kind of cheeses in there and a little bit of shenanigans, but overall was victorious. So we'll be keeping our eye on him in a very, very stacked group. Let's check in with Group C now. I almost said number C. I don't know why, but there you go. It's coming up. So Impact, Rogue, Nurtio, Serral, Zest, and Neeb. For me, gentlemen, there's so many dynamics going on in this group. What a group.
This is the hardest group to predict, I think. Like, yeah, you can look at it and say big names like Rogue, WCS Global Champion. Yeah, that's cool. Serral and Neeb, you know, these guys are like the dominators of the non-Korean scene. Zest, for many years the best Protoss, kind of getting back on top. But you can't count out these other guys. Nurtio has always been one of the best non-Korean players. Impact is maybe the most underrated Zerg in Korea. He's really strong as well, and his A game is as good as these other players' A game. So I don't even know what to do with this group.
Yeah, this is a wildcard group as well, because Rogue, we just don't know how good he is at the moment. What did we truly see of Rogue in 2018? Simply not enough. 2017, if this tournament was 4 months ago, obviously we're all predicting him to make it out of the group, because he was hot, like as hot as a player can be. Right now, it's a lot tougher to predict, and I mean, this is also very different, of course. He had to fly to the other side of the world. It's been a while since we've seen him go up against players of this level. I am a tiny bit worried for Neeb. I am always a believer in Neeb, and the Neeb that we've seen in the past has absolutely shown that he can duke it out with these guys, perhaps even be a favorite to make it out. But Neeb didn't really impress me in the open bracket. He looked good, but he didn't look as clean and untouchable as he's done in the past. For Nurture, this is going to be one hell of a group, of course, but at the same time, we cannot count him out as fun. Zero, I actually do expect him to make it out of this group, no matter how tough it is. I just believe that Zero can, just like last year, make it out of the group.
3 times WCS champion in Neve, who ends up in the same group as our current WCS circuit champion. So always exciting to kind of see those two butt heads, which we will see later on down the line. Let's check in with Group D as well. There's so many stories to talk about against all these groups, and when we get to actually talking about their matches, we'll eventually get to really elaborate on them. Look at that, Elaser, you cheeky boy, you're blocking a little symbol, but that's fine. We do have Elaser, Classic, SOS, Trap, Hero Marine, and Young. Another very, very stacked group, boys.
It is really stacked. And like, for instance, those top 4 players that we see there, I feel like anyone out of those players can come out. The 2 Terran players, if they have a good day, maybe they could do something here, but it seems stacked against those Terrans, in my opinion, in this group.
Yeah, I think the 2 Terrans are the underdog here, but Hero Marine played really good in the open bracket, and of course so did Ryung. Just looked good, got the job done when there was a lot of pressure on him as well in that final series. But I think especially Classic and SOS, I think are 2 favorites here for a lot of us. At the same time, Elaser has shown us in the past that he can absolutely defeat Korean Protoses. He just did it a couple weeks ago. He took out Zest at the Intel Extreme Masters Pyeongchang. So I think Elaser looks at this group, and I don't think he hates it, but it is obviously going to be very tough. And then there is Trap. I mean, Trap has also been getting a lot of love online. A couple of people are really starting to get on the Trap bandwagon again, thinking that he is as good as he was once upon a time. I mean, you gotta love it, James. You gotta love these groups.
Who knows? Who knows? I think one thing that really stands out for me is that, as you said, Hero Marine is there. I feel like he's my the whole round of 24, my underdog, even though he was able to go through Snoot and Kellezer in that open bracket stage. But anyway, let's check in with the schedule here, as we have not only our match going on the main stage here, but also we will have our 2 laptops running simultaneously. Do remember out there, it is round robin groups, best of 3. So everyone gets to play everybody, which is always really, really exciting and brilliant to kind of find out truly who's really at the top of these groups.
Yeah, it's really cool because we get to watch all these games at once. I know there's going to be some additional streams going on, so whatever player you want to see, you know, you can kind of check out what's going on with that.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. In fact, I think you guys do have games so far. I don't need updates, but wait, what?
Maru has already 2-0'd Gumiho. That's how serious he is.
Wasn't that like 40 minutes ago it started?
Yes.
You win.
Oh my god.
Kids making barracks on the other side of the map, James.
Well, quick start. How about you, Roddy? What did you
They're 2-0 special already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What? Anyway, before we even get some results in, it's time to begin Group A as we start things here at the Intel Extreme Masters.
Welcome to the Hacks Pre-Show.
Round 1. Fight.
Group A is a really deadly group, and it's hard to say exactly who's going to win it. I think the most interesting player to watch in Group A is going to be Special. He is really on fire lately, hitting top 4 in every tournament that he's played in.
I think the 2 strongest Terrans by far are going to be Maru and TY. With so many Terran versus Terrans in this group, and these guys having very different play styles, I'm curious to see who's going to come out on top in that mirror matchup. I feel like this is going to be a group that's going to come down a lot to who has the best Terran versus Terran. The Protosses in the group are good, but I think when you compare them to the results a lot of these Protoss players have just shown, there's a big difference, and I think a TVT Pro is what's going to come out on top.
That's right, right, the most the most electrifying tournament of the calendar year is about to begin, or even has when we look at the results that have already come in. But we're going to start things off with game number 1 of Group A, and it will be Showtime going up against TY. Gentlemen, Showtime versus TY. Is it Christmas already? I know it's only February, March, but oh my god, actually it's March the 1st. But we get such good fixtures already to start the day off.
Well, this could be a dynamite match, and Roddy was actually talking about this earlier before we started. Like, if Showtime shows up today, he makes this group so interesting, because we saw previously from him, especially that year at BlizzCon where he played so well and beat Yun, that his PvT, when he's playing well, can beat anybody. So if he can bring that here against TY, it's a dynamite match, and it will change the outcome of this group dramatically.
It is funny though, it really